This conference will now be recorded.
Sorry, I lost you. There was a automated voice. So you
Like,
already have a basic background of Selenium.
yeah, sir. With the Java. So,
Okay. So you are planning to learn Selenium with Python.
yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, wonderful. So the point is, we are focused on training Python in detail from basic, and then once the Python basic sessions, how much is needed for Selenium is done, then we'll progress with Selenium, whatever the compatibility with Python, and then accordingly we'll try to automate the browsers. And then if you see my 1 second PPT, let me pull it up. So by the end of this course, you should be able to write Python. Then I have promised to teach you guys like prepare performance bots using Selenium and Python, and then I will teach you how to automate WhatsApp messaging. So if you want to send WhatsApp message which is same to a particular like 500 contacts or 1000 contacts or whatever it is, you can do it. So but I will teach you using Python. So that also we will do live in this course, and then accordingly you will get to know how to write the Python script and all those things. And then you will be comfortable to write Python and Selenium scripting by the end of this course. So that is it. So today my focus is on showing you where you can download the Python, how to install, and what is the IDE that we are going to use in our course.
Okay.
So yesterday I have showed you guys python.org. So this is the website. This is Bible kind of thing. So if you want anything related to Python, this is the website that you come to. Okay, and you will get the entire information. If you want to learn Python on your own also, you can come here, go through, learn any of the module. Everything is available. Everything is free. That's the best part. So when you come to python.org, you see here, download Python 3.9.1. Either you want to download it for which machine, Windows, Linux, Mac OS, any other. So you can download and install it. And if you download Python, I'll show you how it is going to be and install Python. So once you download on your machine, no, you have to open your command prompt, type in Python.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
And as every programmer shows you, if you have to write a print command, let's start with a print in Python. Print hello world. Sorry, I did not end it properly. Okay, fine. Okay, you get the result. And if you want to do some addition, 2 plus 3. So many of you might be you are not well versed in other programming language, or even some people don't like personally to use the command prompt and type their programs here. It is not that convenient to do the programming when you are especially learning. So what we can do, there is a beautiful IDE which is called as Interactive Development Environment. When you expand it, that IDE name is Anaconda. Okay, when you go to this, you can press on Anaconda download. When you scroll to the bottom of the screen, okay, so if you are using a Windows machine as mine, you can download basing on your 64-bit or 32-bit, and if you are using a Mac or a Linux, you can download any of it. Once you download, if you guys have a system properly, we can set it up. I'll help you out set it up. Let's take it up in the next class once you guys join it. If for right now, you can download this over here and we can do the installation. It is as easy as installing any other software. Like you want to install a VLC, wherein you just execute the exe file and then open it. We will continue. Once you join, we will see how to install this Anaconda software. So how does Anaconda look? So you see here under my Windows, You see Anaconda 3. Under Anaconda 3, we can open Anaconda Navigator. Once I click on this window will pop up for me. Okay, Anaconda supports other things as well. You can write R, you can write Python using Jupyter Notebook, you can write Python again using Spider. It's up to you. Okay, but I'll tell you why we are using Anaconda and why it is so simple. By the end of today's demo session, you will understand why we are going ahead with Anaconda. So within Anaconda, these all are the IDEs that are present. This is the major IDE. Under that, these are the notebooks. We call these as notebooks. So when I launch this Jupyter Notebook, this looks something like this one. Okay, so when you want to create any new notebook, nothing new. You have to just come, once it is launched, you have to come here, click on new, open Python 3. So once you click on this, you see here, one moment. Okay, fine. So when I open this notebook, today suppose I'm taking this session. You want to name this session as Isha Demo 2 Python class. So whatever we did on command prompt, we can do that here as well. But this is more interactive and more helpful. I'll show you why. So print the same thing. Okay, you see how simple it is and how convenient it is. And good part, when you install Python through Anaconda, what will happen? You will get all these modules already pre-installed with Python when you install using Anaconda. Okay, so what is a module now? Any guys can understand? Tell me what is a module? One specific module example. Any one of you? Okay, so let me tell you. So when you say a module, today we are here to learn Selenium along with Python. So Selenium itself is a module. So when you check within Anaconda, whether Selenium comes for free. No, it is not pre-installed. If you want to do some data analysis, we have to use Pandas. Whether Pandas comes in default with Anaconda, yes, it comes in. So if you don't have Selenium, how we can install? It's very, very simple. So let me go to my Windows, open Anaconda prompt. Within that, I will type in pip install Selenium. Because I already have Selenium installed here, it is telling me that I already have Selenium installed in my machine. If someone of you would have installed, the syntax is so simple. You have to write pip install Selenium, or if you want to install matplotlib, assume. You see, because it is already installed on my machine, it is giving you this, but the syntax is similar. So you just need to write pip install followed by whatever you want. Oh, so any questions on what is this pip and what are modules? We will go through modules. These are modules which are already there on python.org. These are published or freely developed by other developers. These give us an advanced, like today, if you know Python, you can do automation using Selenium. Okay, if you know Python, you want to get into data science, there is a module called matplotlib or Pandas or NumPy. You can use those and do data science or data analysis. It's up to you. So once you know the basic programming language, you learn some module, it enhances the power of Python so that you can use it specifically for whatever you want to do. So if you want to do mobile testing, then APM is the one. APM is again a module. If you know Python, if you know APM, how to use it, we can control that module using Python. So that is a module. And installation is very simple. You just need to write pip install followed by whatever module you are missing in your machine. Okay, any questions until now? Any one of you? Okay, I don't have any. I have a silence, so let's see. So okay, let me jump one step ahead. I want this to be interactive, guys, please, because we are a pretty small crowd as well today. Okay, so let's do one thing. So let me write a function so that you understand how a Python syntax would look like. I will write a function to figure out whether the number that I have passed in is an even number or an odd number. Okay, number is even or not. Okay, so let me write the function. Okay, I will teach you functions. Functions is a way ahead compared to what, but today my motto is showing the syntax. So if you want to write a function, it will look something like def even odd. I will name the function name as even odd. To figure out a function, a number is an even or an odd number, we can figure that out by dividing the number by 2. If it is divisible by 2, then it is an even number. If it is not divisible by 2, it is an odd number. You guys already know it. I'm just telling for a refresher. So I need two variables, x and a y. Let's assume my variables are x and a y. So if I want to end this function, now if a number is divisible by 2, it's an even number, else it is an odd number. In your English statement only you are using a if else. So in Python also we need to use a if else. So if x percentile 2, if you want to know the remainder, you need to use percentile within Python. I'll teach you all those. Is equal to 0, print it is an even number. Okay, so I just executed the function. Let me call that function. So let me pass 4 in x, y to 2. So 4 divided by 2, the remainder is 2. So it is an even number. It is divisible. If suppose within this function you passed in your variables as 3 and 1. What happened? Did I do any mistake? Can you guys tell me? Guys. So when I told you we have to check whether a number is divisible by 2 or not. So your denominator should always be 2. It should not be y. So just remove this y, just execute this. So now we need to pass just a one variable. So I'm passing it over here. It is any one number. If I pass 3, it is an odd number. So now I showed you the previous example so that you will understand what is a variable. See here, this is a variable. Okay, this x is a variable. So how to define a variable in Python? It is very simple, very easy. If you have used other programming languages before, you need to define a variable before you write it. But in Python, there is no need. If you want to assign some value for a, you want to write it as 1. You just need to write it as simple as this. If you write a mathematics solution, how do you do it? A is equal to 1, b is equal to 2. If you want to give a float number, yes, just go ahead and do it, 2.5. So now whether Python has stored this a is equal to 1, b is equal to 2.5, how will we know that? So you just need to write print of a. So 1, print of b, 2.5. So now one question will come up. Because we all know maths and we are at this level, we should be knowing A is an integer, B is a float. But we should check whether Python is knowing that A is an integer, B is a float. How will we know that? So we can do one thing. We can write in type of A. So when you write that, it will tell you it is an integer. When you write type of B, it will tell you it is a float. So you see, variable definition is very easy in Python. It's really easy, guys. So you write something like, suppose you are writing some, okay, C is equal to, I just want to take in some string from Google. Just let me Google out Sachin Tendulkar. I'll just take the Wikipedia, whatever is there, just dump it here. So when you pass in any string value, so we know when you are writing a variable with a numeric expression, you should write it as 1. You should write it as 2.5. But you want to define some string. When you are having some characters, then you have to define it as a string. How do you define a string in Python? It's very simple again. Whatever your content is, you should put within double quotes or single quotes. Okay. But here, if you see, there is a line difference now. So here, if you see, Sachin Tendulkar is an international cricketer, and this one is in orange color, but the other things are in black and green color. So this, because this is a multi-line string, how to make this content fit into C? So we can use something called as backslash. So the moment I used a backslash, the second line also became in the orange color. And if I want to continue for the other two lines, just put in backslashes. So now you see entire thing has showed up in orange color. So when I run this now, I will print C. What you will see, no? You will see the entire paragraph content, whichever I have pasted in this over here, no? It is stored into the variable C. Now, if I want to figure out the type of C, what it will tell me, it is a string. Suppose you don't want a multi-line string. You want to just enter someone's name. So I will write a D variable. You can write it as Rahul Dravid. So the moment you write it, if you want to print D, sorry. So one good point, even though I mistyped, my variable was in lowercase. This is a variable, it was assigned in lowercase. So here it is in capital. The moment I mistyped it as capital D, what did we get? Name error. Name D is not defined, but it is having in lowercase. So you should be very careful when you define a variable and you use a variable, because I've used a smaller case D, you should give smaller case D only. So you see my D is Rahul Dravid. If I want to figure out what type of variable it was, it will tell you it is a string. When we get an str, no, it's a string. When we get an int, it is an integer. When you get a float, it is a float. Simple. So now if you go back to the program which we wrote some time back, so within this function, the only thing that I see when I write a Python program, no, it is colon and white spaces. You see, so when you write any program in Python, these white spaces are very important. 4 white spaces or a single tab. So you need to consistently use either a 4 white spaces or a single tab, so that you will get this called indentation. So the entire program basically in Python is, in syntax wise, is important with 4 white spaces or a single tab, which is called as indent. So suppose in this program where we were trying to figure out whether a number is even number or not, what you can do, if suppose I remove this indent and I execute this program, what did it say? Indentation error. Unindented does not match any outer indentation level. So the good part about Python, no, it will tell you what kind of error we are getting, as similar as other languages. So when you write something with a colon, after that, the next line should have an indentation. So this is a function definition. I'm ending with a colon. When you're writing a program, you type something in. When you press a enter, it will come with an indent. Okay. So I will pause here. I will check whether you guys have any questions. Any questions, guys? What is an indent, or what is a variable? What is this int, float, and string in Python? You guys have any questions? Please ask me.
No, sir.
Wonderful. Okay. So this is it about this thing. So now we will explore. Okay, I just got a comment. Okay, wonderful. So let's just do something. Okay, there are three types of numbers. One is integer, float, and the other one is complex numbers. So because this is a demo, let's start with integer and a float. So suppose I write 1 plus 1. Answer is 2. Okay. If I write 1 plus 1.5, answer is 2.5. So can I do something like print type of 1 plus 1? Okay, print type of print 1 plus 1.5. Answer is 2.5. Because we are running these lines 25 and 26 within Anaconda, you are seeing the number 2 and 2.5 as a result. But when you are executing a Python program, you want to see a result, we should use print. So here, now I have directly written print 1 plus 1, I am getting the number 2. Print 1 plus 1.5, I'm getting the number 2.5. So you might get a question, can I write my calculations within print? Yes, you can do that. Can I use it as a standard definition that everything I can write in print? No. Obviously, you should use the variables and then add your print statement into the variable. So if you take this program, it's very small, obviously. So let me use print statements here. Print this, when you pass in a number, suppose which is divisible by 2, then only it will enter into this if condition. Okay, if not, if the number is 3, it will not pass. If 3 percentile of 2 is equal to 0, it will be 1, so it will enter into else condition. So what we can do, we will print the x value. So print also, we have a lot of topic to discuss. We will go that in detail, like what is the type of formatting that we can use within print. So for a moment, what we can do, print the value that is coming into this, and then I will show you up why am I writing one x in double quotes and the other x as a variable. So let me do the same in the if condition as well. Okay, so let me run this now. So in this even odd, if I pass in the number 4, okay, so when I passed in the number 4, previously we were getting only it is an even number, but now we are getting x 4. Why is it so? Because I wrote one more print statement here, which is having a string called x in double quotes. So within print, if you write anything in double quotes, something like this, something in random I am just typing in. Okay, this will get printed. Anything that you write within a double quote or a single quote and execute it, that will get printed. So now one very good point, when sometime back I told you, you can define a string using double quotes. Now you can ask me a question, can I define a string using single quotes? Yes, you can do that. Suppose we are taking a variable called v and I am assigning a string called Virat Kohli into it. Okay, I wrote it in double quotes, I am running it now. So if I print v, yes, I got it. Now suppose the same variable v I am overwriting into Virat Kohli with single quotes. If I execute, it will not throw me any error. If I print v, same thing, Virat Kohli. So either you define anything within a double quote or a single quote, Python will consider that value to be a string. So even though the same thing, if you do within a print statement, you write it in a double quote or you write it in a single quote, the print will come up. So in this example, because I gave one hard code as X, so if I would have written something like random, okay, I run this, I gave 4, you see, random. So whatever you write within double quotes within print or single quotes within print, that thing will get printed. And because this X was a variable here, because this variable we were parsing in here, so it came in here. If 4 percentile of 2 equal to 0, print random of that X value. That X value was 4. So one next important point that we are going to discuss is, suppose I will define some R variable as Ajinkya Rahane. Suppose I open it with a double quote, I end it with a single quote. Will this work for me? No. Okay. So when you open something in a double quote and you are trying to close it in a single quote, this will not work. So you have to be consistent. So if you open with a single quote and you end with a double quote, no, this will also not work. So you have to be very consistent in this. So what you have to do, R is equal to either everything in a single quote or everything in a double quote. So print of R Ajinkya Rahane. So even when you write within a print statement, never mix and match usage of a double quote and a single quote. Always use consistently only single quotes or only double quotes. That will only give you the correct answer. So now, because we have just started off using numbers, so if you know, every one of you know that the rules within mathematics application or in Python is the same. The preference for calculations is BODMAS, which is brackets of division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. Okay, so this is the rule within Python when you are having anything. So if you notice, whenever I am writing that I want to comment out, I am writing it in 3 quotes. Okay, so there are 2 types of comments within Python. One is something like this. This is a program comment in single line. Okay, if I want to write in multiple line, you have to put it within 3 double quotes or 3 single quotes, opening and ending. This is a multi-line comment that I am writing for my reference. So you see, when you want to write anything in a multi-line comment, you need to use 3 triple quotes or 3 single quotes. But when you want to write it in a single line comment, you need to use this hash symbol. So what if you write a single hash comment and write multi-line? This is a comment. This is next line comment. You see, because you did not write hash in front of this, it throwed me error. So what will Python assume? No, it will think this is some kind of variable that this guy is giving to me. When you write something after a hash, it will think, okay, he has initiated a comment and he is typing in a comment, so no problem for me. When you are writing something within 3 double quotes followed, it will understand your writings multi-line comment. So now if you do something silly, like you open three double quotes, you are closing with 3 single quotes, again it will fail. So don't mix and match single quotes with double quotes. It's always up to you as a programmer what you want to choose. Either use double quotes consistently or single quotes consistently. It's up to you. And when you want to write a multi-line comment, write it like this. Okay, when you want to write a single line comment, write it like this. Okay, so I'll pause for a moment. Any questions on what is a single line comment, what is a multi-line comment, how to use this double quote and single quote? Any questions on these basic things? Any one of you? Wonderful. Let's progress. Okay, so variable definition, I showed you something like I wrote x is equal to 1, y is equal to 2, and Python is in default reading it. Is there any restriction for using the variable name? Yes, obviously we cannot use some predefined variables. Suppose I was writing a if statement. I use if is equal to 10. No, you cannot write it. If you want to use some while is equal to 20, no, you cannot use it. So there is a list of predefined keywords which are already existing in Python. Those you cannot use as variable names in Python. So what are those variables? No, don't use this reserved keywords for naming convention. Don't write and is equal to something, or is equal to something, if is equal to something. Never use these names. Don't write print is equal to 100. So when you are using any variable definition, no, don't consider these names. Okay, we will learn what are these once we are learning through the course. Okay, and there are some rules for variable definition. Okay, start with a letter or underscore. Don't start with a number. Variable name can contain letters, numbers, and underscores. Don't include special characters in variable names. So let's try it out. So let me go to my Anaconda. So here, what if I write 1x? I am considering this to be my variable name is equal to 2. You cannot do this. Don't start with a variable number, as it says in the variable sheet very clearly. Don't start it with a number. Okay, start with a letter or underscore. Suppose I write underscore of x is equal to 2. Yes, you can do this. Now this underscore x is a variable for Python, so it will give you 2. But don't start with a number, and variable name can contain underscores, and suppose you are having y1 is equal to 30, y underscore 2 is equal to 40. You can do this. So y1, if you run 30, it can retrieve the values. Y2 is equal to 40. But don't do something like y-3 is equal to 40. This will not work. Okay, so you cannot do this. So variable definition should go by these rules only within Python. So I will stop here. Any questions on the variable rules or any other programming that you have learned and you feel those can be used? Any questions on variable definition? Anything, guys? Okay, awesome. Let's progress. So let's get back to BODMAS. Okay. So what is this? Brackets of division of multiplication, addition, subtraction. So I will do some calculation. Let me write something. I will name it as cal is equal to 100 into 20 divided by 2 multiplied by some 3, then added by some 4, then subtracted by 5. When I run this, I try to print my cal variable. I'm getting the answer as 2999. Okay. So if you see here, in which sequence was this value calculated, and I got the answer as 299. So this calculation will go basing on the rule of BODMAS. So if you see brackets of division, first this will be multiplied because this number is within the brackets. So first preference is for brackets. 100 into 20, 2000. Then division by 2, 100 into 20 by 2. So it is 100 into 10, 1000. 1000 into 3, because after division it is multiplication. 1000 into 3 is 3000. 3000 followed by addition. So 4, 3004 minus 5, 2999. Any question on BODMAS rule within Python for calculation? Anything? Okay, what if I change this multiplication and division? Okay, I will modify the number 3 here. I'll give the number 2 here. Same thing, but I have modified the sequence. I divided by 2 was before, multiplied by 3 was after, but I just rearrange the sequence of the calculation. So I execute this program, I get this answer. So what has happened now? What is the calculation now? 100 into 20, 2000. Then what should be done? Division should be done. So first division will get executed, which is 3 by 2. Okay, first this calculation will be done, then this 3 by 2 will be done, then this value into this value will be done, then the addition, then the subtraction. So it will first choose out what is the sequence of characters that you have given and the special characters that you have given. Basing on that, you will get the answer. Luckily we got the same result here, but that wouldn't be the case. So you have to be very careful when you are handling data and you're doing some calculations through it. So you have to always follow this rule of BODMAS. Okay, so let's progress further. Suppose I will show you something. By mistake, you have defined some random number, n is equal to 25. You wrote within double quotes or single quotes, any of it. Okay, and then you defined m is equal to some 3. Okay, here you do not give any double quotes. Now you are trying to calculate, what do you say, multiplication of these two numbers. M into n, you want to store it into some z. Okay, you run this. Okay, what will happen now? Print of this also got executed. If I print the z, you were assuming this to be a number. 25 3s are 75. So your answer when you print this z, it should be 75. But actually what has happened? We have got 25, 25, 25, which is incorrect. Why did this happen? Because if you check the type of Z, this will be a string, because you defined the value of n as a string, because you gave it as double quotes. So type of n, we got it as a string. Because you are trying to multiply a string 3 times, what it will do? It will multiply the same string 3 times, and you see the answer as 25, 25, 25. So you have to be very careful. You are not putting something in a double quote when you are defining a number. So you have to type this as 20, n is equal to 25, m is equal to 3. If you are in doubt, just figure out the type of m, type of n, then you can do the calculation. Both are in int or in float, then we can do the calculations. Z is equal to m into n, print of z. So the answer is 75. So any questions on what has happened when we considered it as a string? Any questions, guys, until now? Okay, silence means I don't have any questions. Wonderful. So let me see the course content. Okay, we had to cover variable rules, have done that. Numbers, data type, math operations, we are doing that. Precedence we have just covered, which is BODMAS, and then Boolean data type. Let me cover this and close it off because we don't have much of population today, as it is a demo. So if you write anything to be a true within Python, okay, you print A, it will return you true. If you write anything to be a false, print B, it will give you false. Obviously, this is variable assignment. I'm not doing anything much great here. But one very good thing, if you write small true instead of a capital letter true T, no, this won't understand. So one good thing you can notice when you are using Anaconda, no, you see the keyword definitions which are already existing within Python will turn to green color. Okay, so now A is holding the keyword value which is true. So when I run this, you are getting true. Suppose again the same thing. If you've used small false, it will tell you, I don't know what is this false. What is this false? It will ask me, what is this name error which you have given as false? I don't know what is this name. So it will consider this to be a variable. So B is equal to false. Print of B, false again. So similar way, there is something called as Boolean. So anything that you give as 0 within Python, you write Boolean of 0, it will tell you false. If you give any other value other than 0, it will tell you it is a true. So suppose if I type in -1, true. So anything that you given as 0, it is false in Python. Any other thing that you type in instead of a 0, it is a true. So what if I give a blank string? So suppose I give my variable to be g is equal to just double quotes. I don't give anything. Okay. There is a difference when you don't give anything and you give a single space. So let me give a h is equal to single space of it. So I run this, bool of g. So it is false, bool of h, true. So even a single space is holding a character value within Python in the background. So what I told you, anything other than a 0 is a true. Anything defaulted to a 0 is a false. So when you don't give anything within a string, Python will return you a false. When you give any character within a string, the Python will return you a true. Okay. And if you would have learned 10th class maths, it is very simple for you. True and true is true. True and false is false. Okay. True or false is true. false or false is false. When you use the OR operator, it is only false when you are having false and false. When you are having AND operator, it is true only when you are having true and true. So why these are important? No, because when you are writing if or else conditions, you are testing something like you want to test whether a number is divisible by 2. Within that only you want to test whether that same number is divisible by 4 exactly. So when you want to use an AND operator, it will be true only when both are true or 3 are true. Okay, if you have true and true and false, this will be false. So when you have a true or false or true, this is true. When you have a true or false, the answer is true. So we have learned this already in 10th class mathematics. So this is about the Boolean operators within Python. So any questions now until what we have covered? Just ask me, guys, if you have any.
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. So I will stop over here. So if you guys have joined today only, just go back to my previous video, which is already there on the YouTube. They'll share you the link. Just go through it and then we'll progress further. The next class, we will start with the real variable definitions and try to do some things within Python. So I'll stop over here. Thank you for joining. Bye guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye bye.